All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing the book version of Eye of the Needle by Ken Follett and also the movie version of Eye of the Needle. And we're going to review both of them. I'll give you my honest thoughts on both, compare and contrast the movie to the book, and all of those things. Let's talk about the book first a little bit. Let's just look at the cover. It's a dope looking cover, I think. The DVD cover, I mean, there's three movies in one: Eye of the Needle, Gorky Park, which I just reviewed a couple days ago, and then Company Business. I don't know. It's a 3-in-1 packet of DVDs. The book itself was published in 1978. It was Ken Follett's first real huge hit. Now, you know, Ken Follett is one of my top 5 favorite authors. If we pan through my library here, we'll show you my entire Ken Follett collection right there on, let's see, where is it? It's right there on that shelf. Those are all my Ken Follett books. So anyway, big fan of Ken Follett. In fact, The Eye of the Needle is one of my top 5 thriller novels of all time. I've probably read it. This is probably the 5th time I've read it. It's the first time I've seen the movie, though. So we're going to talk about that. So the book came out in 1978. A big, huge hit for Ken Follett. Was a mega bestseller. Put him on the map. Made everything everything he's written since then has been dynamite. The movie came out in 1981. It was filmed entirely in England and Scotland, which is where the book takes place, so that's good. If you watched my review of Gorky Park, the movie and the book, I thought the movie might have been filmed in Russia, but I was wrong. It was filmed in Sweden or Finland or somewhere like that. Anyway, so let's kind of go over both the book and the movie at the same time. I'll just hold them both up like this. So, D-Day, World War II. There's a big deception going on by the British. Hitler knows that the Americans and the British are going to invade France and try to push back the Germans back into Germany. He just doesn't know where they're going to invade France. They've narrowed it down to 2 possibilities. The closer landing point would be in Calais. A little bit further away is the beaches of Normandy. They don't know which is which. So the Americans and the English decide to fool Hitler and his spies, the spy planes that fly over England, by constructing out of plywood a fake army base full of airplanes and tanks, hundreds of thousands of them. Airplanes and tanks, and all shapes and sizes. They construct them out of cardboard and plywood and string and rope, just to make it look like, hey, we're going to be launching off the coast of England right here, which means we're probably going to invade Calais. Now, they need to keep this secret from Hitler and all of his spies. Now, they think they've sussed out all of the spies that are actually living in England, but they're not certain. They know that they're probably fooling the spy planes because they kind of have an ear to the the German, spy network, kind of, the little teet 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 teet. I don't even know what the Enigma machines. I don't know what they are, but they talk the Russia. Anyway, the pilots come back to Germany and they're like, "There's a shit ton of planes and stuff on the ground over here," and so the Germans believe that the invasion is going to happen in one place, but it's not going to happen there. Now, in reality, we pulled this off. The Germans did not know. They weren't expecting the Americans and the British to invade Normandy. They were expecting them to invade near Calais, and so the deception worked. However, This is a story of what if there was a German spy in England that was privy to the fact that it was all a ruse, that it was all bullshit, and what if he was the most deadly spy the Germans had? The best spy they had. And what if they had to stop him from getting word back to Hitler of where the real invasion is going to take place? That's the basis of this story. So we open up in the book, and here's where we're going to kind of contrast the book with the movie a little bit, because I think the book is so intense, so well plotted and well paced, and the scenes seem to flow in a certain order that makes sense. The movie, for whatever reason, decided to jumble the scenes in a different order, which really kind of made the beginning of the movie kind of boring and less intense than it should have been. If they would have just followed the scene after scene after scene after scene in the book, it would have been great. The movie was okay. I'm going to tell you right now. The book is a 10 out of 10. It's a magnificent thriller novel. The movie was okay. I would give it like a 4.5 out of 10. It's just kind of nudging below average for a few reasons, for a few things that the movie makers decided to do just with the storyline. So we've got Faber. He is this spy. He is this master German spy. And he's deadly. And we find out that he's deadly really quick in the book. The opening scene is just an intense sort of murder scene where he's living in this apartment building with some other people that live in the apartment building, and the landlady kind of has a crush on him, and she kind of walks in on him as he's doing his little typing his little coded message into whatever machine he's using. And so he has to murder her. And then he goes away, and then he disappears. He's got many different personas that he lives under in England. So he's like, well, this persona is shot because there's a dead lady in my apartment now, and well, I'll just leave her here and go be somebody else now. And it's very cool. You get to see the inner thoughts of this cold-blooded spy / assassin in the book. In the movie, the assassin is played by Donald Sutherland, who does not look like an assassin at all. The assassin in the book is cold, he's sly, he's sneaky, he's slithery, he's just greasy, and he's a master of disguise. And he's got the stiletto that he kills people with. And he's known in Germany as Die Nadel, Dinedal, which is the needle. That's why, he's known as the Needle. That's his code name. And because he kills everybody with a stiletto, which is like a needle kind of a thing. It's a dagger, needle-ish thing. Anyway, that's how the book starts. The movie starts with entirely different scenes. Well, that's not true. I guess it does start with that scene. There's just about 5 minutes of unnecessary exposition before that scene that they've put in. And anyway, so our second main character is Professor Godliman, who is recruited by the MI5 secret police of whatever, England or Scotland Yard. I can't remember, Scotland Yard or something. He's recruited by somebody to hunt down this needle. And he's just a professor. Now in the movie, you don't know he's a professor. He just seems like another cop, which is okay, whatever. And then our third main character is Lucy. She's a newlywed. She's married to this military guy who's going to fly British Spitfire planes in the war. And on their honeymoon, they get drunk and they have a drunk driving accident. And her newlywed husband, Dave, is paralyzed from the waist down in the accident. And so Dave, his parents are rich, and they give him, he inherits this sheep farm that's on Storm Island that's off the coast of England. And so that's where they go to live, Lucy and Dave. And this island plays a big role in the story. In the book, it plays a big role in the last third of the story, because these three characters, Faber, the assassin, Professor Godliman, who's chasing him, and Lucy and Dave, Lucy really, all three of their stories are being told alternately throughout the first 2/3 of this book, and it isn't until about the last third of the book that all of the stories come together. One of the things I didn't like about the movie was they kind of sped through the first 2/3 of the book, which are the most intense intense parts. This is where we really get to see Faber being devious, sneaking around. All the cat and mouse with the British government where they're stalking him and following him through the streets, and then he double crosses and he's following them through the streets, and he's trying to figure out who's a German spy, who's an English spy, who's going to double cross. And he's just a ruthless guy. If anybody sees his face, or with the needle, the stiletto, they're not long to live, right? And the movie speeds through all of those scenes and gets to the last third of the book and spends about 2/3 of the movie on the last third of the book, which takes place on this thing called Storm Island, where kind of all the characters are together. And it's a kind of a chase in the storm, yada yada. They just overdo that in the movie. In the book, it was fine, but the strength of the book was really the German spy and how clever he was and how evil and dangerous he was. And the first 2/3 of the book really lay that out, so that when you do get to Storm Island and he does come across Lucy and Dave, it's all the more riveting, especially because Dave is crippled. But in the movie, they jump to those scenes real quick. They skip over all of the cool stuff in the first. Anyway, I'm giving The Eye of the Needle, again, like I said, it's my top 5 favorite thriller novels of all time. So it's still going to be a 10 out of 10, even after reading number 5. And like I said, the movie Eye of the Needle is what did I say, 4.5 out of 10 or something like that. That's my review. That's what we got.